Hello everybody, I'm Blue again. Life's back to normal, everything's okay. So, today I would like to talk to you guys about books I've DNFed. So before I get into that, I'll explain what DNFing means to those of you who might not know what DNF means. So if you're not in the bookworm jargon world, whatever, DNF basically means do not finish. So it's a book that you start reading but do not finish for certain reasons. Now, I don't usually DNF a book. I know that some people think that life is too short to read books you don't like, and to some extent I agree, but on the other hand, if I start a book, I really want to finish it because I feel like I should, but also there's so many good books that I read that were so freaking boring throughout the majority of them, but turned out to be extremely good books, like The Seance, which is one of my favorite books, is extremely slow, and halfway through the book the plot picks up at all. Same goes for Once Upon a River. It's also an extremely slow, kind of boring book, but then it picks up and it actually becomes really good. So I don't like giving up on a book, for the reason that I feel like I should finish it, but also for the reason that there's so many good books out there that you won't get to experience if you DNF them because they're too boring after 30 pages. Once again, this is just the way I view things and I view life, so if you view things differently and you think DNFing is fine, that's totally okay. Like, I don't judge. If you DNF books, that's fine. My mom DNFs books. If like the first 20 pages bore her, she's not gonna go and read anything more than that. So, you know, DNFing's fine, I just particularly don't like to do it. There are 3 books that I've DNF'd in my life. Only 3. And it's not because they were boring. I read every single obligatory book in school we had to read, and damn, we had some hella boring books. Also, the weather's so nice today, I can't wait to go out, but I have to wait till 12 because here, you're not allowed to go out before 12. So, yes. Alright, so let's get into it. Now, I know that some of you might be mad at the state of my books, but I just want to say that I think, yeah, every single one of those books I got secondhand. So I'm quickly gonna tell you now the books and why they were destroyed, and then I'm gonna tell you why I DNF'd each of them. So The Final Girls, my uncle bought me secondhand off of Amazon as a present, and you know, I didn't want to bitch that it's completely falling apart, so I just took it without bitching. Because, you know, it's a present, you know, I got it for free, like my uncle paid for it, but I got it for free. The Ghostwriter I also got off of Amazon as a present, also secondhand, that's why it's a little bit less good quality. And Nick Cave's book I got from, in the little town next to the place where I live, there's a park, and in the park is this kind of police phone box thing, only inside instead of a phone you have books, and the general idea is you go, you take whatever book you want to read, and you can give back books as well, and it just kind of goes around. So that's where I took the Nick Cave book from. So I did not destroy those books. Some of them are in terrible state, but I got them second-hand, or maybe third or fourth hand, I don't even know at this point. So I did not destroy them. They're in poor quality, not because of me, I just want to state that. Alright, so let's start with the one that irritated me the most. The Final Girls by Reich Sager, however you pronounce that. Now, when I say it's in terrible state, I don't really want to flip through it, but the pages are falling out, so if I were to do this without holding, the pages would just fall out, so I'll just put it aside. The general idea was great, because I love Final Girl books. I generally love the Final Girl trope. I'm a horror maniac, and Final Girls, you know, are just my thing, you know. I love Nancy Thompson, and I love so many of the beautiful Final Girls from the original horror movies. Beautiful. So the trope is here, and it's something that I absolutely love, and it's basically about a girl who is a final girl, and after years she has 2 other final girls. One of them she's friends with, and someone starts stalking and trying to kill them off. That's the general gist, the general idea. The book itself had so much potential, and I just want to say, I know this book has relatively good reviews and people generally do enjoy this book, so this is just my opinion. I want to state that. I'm not saying the book is bad, this is just my personal opinion. However, and I would maybe have even gotten through the book if not for the main character. I have never ever in my life read a book where the main character is so stupid, dumb, naive, reckless, childish. It's just, there is not one single positive thing that I can say about this character. And you know, usually I survive it. Oh, Ginger's here. Ginger is a chubby chub now. You might not see it, you probably don't because you can only see her face. But we left her for Christmas with our neighbors. We went to my grandma's, but don't worry, my grandma wasn't at her house. She's coming back next month. And also we went by car, so I didn't see anyone. I was quarantining still, so don't worry. The house was empty, I mean the apartment rather. But we left our cat with our neighbors and they fed her and made her little chubkins. But okay, she was always so thin that maybe being a little chubkins is good. Going back to the point, usually I'd survive it, but this book is from a first person perspective, and when you have this fucking idiot who makes not one single wise decision throughout the entire book, narrating it, I can't, like, it just infuriated me so much. Everything about her infuriated me, so I skipped, like, I read a few pages here, a few pages here, just to know how it finishes. But the hypocrisy and idiocy and recklessness of the main character just made me want to strangle someone. So that's the reason why I DNF'd this book. However, it's like I said, I know a lot of people enjoy it, so this is just my personal opinion. The second book is The Ghostwriter, and this is actually a very good book. This book I didn't finish because it triggered me a little bit, and now I am not a snowflake. I am not a fan of social justice warriors, so when I say trigger, I mean psychological trigger, not, oh my god, they said something nice, I'm gonna be triggered. No, I have two triggers. Things that bring on a lot of negative emotions, that bring on a lot of anxiety, a lot of nausea, a lot of fear and depression, and just shit ton. It's like this mega negative bomb of emotions going off. There are two things that trigger me, and that's any sort of sexual abuse and cheating. I'm not gonna go into why I have these trigger warnings, triggers, because that's none of anyone's business. But when I say this book triggered me, I don't mean, oh, I didn't like it and so it triggered me. I had a very, very bad psychological reaction because of certain things in the book. Now, I know that, you know, when you say sexual assault, that's something that is normal and a trigger, but when you say cheating, I understand it sounds a little bit off. You just have to believe me, there's perfectly good reasons behind those triggers, and you know, if someone just says cheating, that's totally fine with me. However, when it triggers me is when it goes really in depth and really describes it very in depth. I can't deal with that. Just I can't. Psychologically, it leaves me wrecked for days. I'm a very psychologically strong person, I want to state that. Those are the only two things that actually get me. No. And unfortunately that's one of the main things in this book, and it's described in extreme detail, and I just couldn't finish it for that reason. Okay, if you want to think I'm a snowflake because of that, that's totally fine though. Like, I'm not gonna judge you because everyone's entitled to their opinion, and that's totally fine. However, this is a problem for me, and even though this book was actually, oh sorry, I didn't give the author, that's John Harwood. And even though the book was extremely good, it's a gothic novel, I think, but it's set in current times in Australia. It was very unique. I've never read anything like it. The plot was also very unique. I've never read anything like it, and I generally do like this author very much, so I don't want to diss on the book. I think the book itself was really, really good, and I would honestly, if you don't have those triggers, which I assume most people don't, I suggest you read this book because it's actually an extremely good book. It's about a boy who lives in Australia with a distant mother and distant father, and he decides to befriend a girl from England as pen pals. And I'm not going to get too much into it because I don't want to spoil too much, but it's an extremely good book. The reason I couldn't finish it was because it made me feel psychologically very uncomfortable and very bad and nausea and everything, and I just couldn't. However, the book itself is very good in my opinion. The last book, similar case. Sorry, it's like I said, don't mind all these icks and thingies. That I didn't do that. Nick Cave and the Ass with the Angel. This is a very similar situation, only it didn't trigger me. However, it was too cruel to me. I don't usually mind cruel books because I am very psychologically strong and I can take a lot. Not a lot of things faze me, which may or may not be good. However, the cruelty in this book is just a whole nother level that I cannot fathom and I cannot describe. On the other hand, it's a really good book, and the cruelty in this book is needed because it's supposed to comment on a lot of things, and one of the things it's supposed to comment on is human cruelty, especially towards other human beings. So it's hard to write a book that comments a situation without showing the situation. So if we want to comment on human beings' cruelty, you're gonna write a cruel book. Unfortunately, that's how it is. However, the amount of torture, murder, weird, uncomfortable sexual scenarios and other genuinely just nasty, cruel things. I read half of this book. I couldn't finish it. Once again, I think it's an extremely good book. I personally just couldn't stomach it because it's fine if it's like in some crime novels you get blah 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 plot cruelty, blah 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 plot cruelty. This book is cruelty, tad bit plot cruelty, and I just couldn't stomach it because it was too much for me. But that's just my personal opinion. It's very unique what Nick Cave has written. I don't think this is what he intended, but to me this book also comes off as a criticism of religion, which I particularly enjoyed, living as an atheist and goth in a country run by religion where everyone thinks I deserve to die just because I'm not like everyone else. So especially in such a situation, I did really enjoy this book. However, I think Nick Cave is very Christian and it wasn't his intent to make it necessarily criticism towards religion. However, it does come off a little bit like that. I enjoyed it. That's just my interpretation. I don't think that's what he meant, but that's just my interpretation. It's about a cult in a redneck type of setting. It's hard to say much about the book apart from that. Like I said, I think it's a really good book as well. However, I just couldn't stomach the amount of cruelty. Just too much for me. Just my personal opinion. However, if you have a stronger stomach than me and can take a lot of cruelty, then I highly recommend this book because I genuinely think it's a good book. And just because I couldn't stomach some of the things in it doesn't mean it's not good or well written. It's actually very poetic. Nick Cave is a musician after all, a gothic one after, and he writes beautiful songs, so his book is also going to be beautiful and poetic at times, so highly recommended if you can stomach it. Okay, so those were the books that I DNF'd, and those were the reasons why I DNF'd them. Have you ever DNF'd a book? If yes, let me know which book. I'm curious if I ever read it, or maybe I might read it. And tell me why you DNF'd that book, because I'm really curious about those things. Also tell me how y'all guys are doing. I hope you're doing well, and I think it's nearing 12, so I'm gonna go outside because the weather's so beautiful and it's been so shit lately, so I just want to get out in the sun because I love the sun. So yes, I'm gonna go. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next week. We shall see how my uploading goes, but hopefully. Bye bye! Mwah.